This is something to talk about from the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center, which we do several times a week. And once a month, we have the pleasure of having John Chen come and talk to us about getting our technology organized. And he is here, and we'll get started with him in a minute. I do want to thank Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island, which provides sponsorship for these programs and takes many hands to keep the senior center funded. So thank you to Fieldstone. They have memory care and independent living and also assisted living up on Rolling Bay. And you can schedule a tour to look at their apartments or to find out about respite or day stay programs. Call 360-594-1010. We also like to begin these programs by acknowledging that the Senior Community Center is on the ancestral homelands of the Puget Sound Coast Salish people, specifically our neighbors, the Suquamish tribe. We are grateful for their hospitality, for how they have been very generous in their time in telling us about their history and teaching us about the stewardship that they have done. They have activated, they have been part of on these lands around the Salish Sea since time immemorial. Thank you all for joining us. And I know that that John is going to be talking a little bit about organization, but I also know that you're always open, John, to at least at the end of the session, trying to field any questions folks might have.
Okay. Before I actually get started on some of the organization techniques on a computer, I discovered something from the last month's session that I accidentally made a gesture, and that gesture caused some videos to show up, and it was kind of cute. So I did some research, and this is for anyone that has an iPhone that's maybe from 2018 on forward. And if you have, and by the way, I think that model is XR, which is 10R. And if you update it with the most current operating system, there are a lot of fun things. It's kind of cute. And what I did last time was I gave it a sort of invisible quote mark, and I get little balloons. Then I did a little more search, and if I use two hands, come on, I am supposed to get little, why am I not getting it? Okay, I'm supposed to get confetti. If I did this, come on, somehow it's not doing it. If I
balloons and that was it, but what's the thumbs up supposed to do?
It'll give you a thumbs up emoji or a thumbs down emoji. If I did this, I get little fireworks.
Oh, there we go.
Oh. If I did this, I'm supposed to get rain.
There you go.
Let's see. A heart. The camera needs
There
to
we go. It must have something to do with maybe the blurry background.
Yeah. And a laser, which is come on, catch it. Anyway, it will essentially blank out the background and give you a whole bunch of little laser arrows, kind of. Anyway, there we go. Now, I don't know what you will use it for, but it's kind of cute. If it will work with Zoom, it will work with FaceTime, and all you have to do is any iPhone that is, let's say, around 5 years old, update your operating system, and you'll get those features. So If you want to find out what all the gestures are, you can just go do a search on the internet and use words like Apple FaceTime video gestures, some words to that effect, and it'll show you there are altogether 8 of them. So kind of cute. Okay. For the rest of the session, I have created some videos, actually going through using my own Mac. And by the way, those features are also usable on a phone or a tablet. And most of these are also available on other operating systems like Windows, but the steps to get there may be somewhat different. I am not too crazy about pre-recording a video, mainly because once it's recorded, I don't have a heck of a lot of choice to change the wording. And I just have to go with what I recorded yesterday. But that's the way it turned out. If you have any kind of questions, just voice them, and I can put a pause on that video. We can switch back to a camera, or I can overlay the pre-recorded video with my voice, and I can answer your questions. And if you want to hold off on the questions until the end of the first video of each video, that'll be fine too. So, however, you'd like to do it.
And he's holding up her thumb. We'll see what he does.
And these are the different gestures you can do when you're looking at a video. In a video session like FaceTime or Zoom session, and all you have to do is make those gestures and the corresponding icon will show up. Here are 3 items that I'm going to talk about. Okay, terrific. All right, I'm going to start play. We're now going to look at some of the different ways we can organize our calendar and also to make it easier to find things. By the way, everything I'm going to be doing here is something you can do on a Mac, on an iPad, or on the phone. I'm using the Mac to do it because I have a full keyboard and it will be easier for me to do the demo. You'll notice that this calendar is the standard calendar. I have a calendar for medical activities. I have a calendar for fun things. Now we're going to create another one. And we'll call this new one, let's call it BISCC. What I will do is take all the Senior Center activities, put it in its separate calendar. By the way, you will notice that these are color-coded. I don't like the purple, so I'm going to change Senior Center activities to green. I chose red for medical, fun. I'll call it, we'll leave it as blue. Okay, here we have for the Senior Center, I use 2 fingers to do a single click and I will get new event. This new event, notice it gave me a category that is green, and the green, according to this, is the Senior Center. So I want to have a let's say a Zoom session. And it's going to be from 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Do I want to repeat it? Let's say we do. So I'm going to choose an option. I can do it every day or week or month or year, but I'm going to choose custom. In custom, I can say, how often do you want it? Let's call it monthly. Every month? No, I want it on the first Wednesday. So now, every month from here on out, every month, the first Wednesday of every month, I'm going to have a session. And how long do I want to keep this session going? Let's say it will go from now until June. So I'll end it on 7. Whoops, wrong year. I'll end it on June 5. Okay. It'll end on June 5. And travel time, none, because I'm going to be doing it from home. Okay, alerts. I can have the calendar remind me, let's say 15 minutes before. And I want to have another alert, let's say 1 day before. So the day before, it will remind me that I have a Zoom session the next day. And 15 minutes before, it will remind me to get all the devices ready. So now I'm happy with that. I'll just click anywhere outside of this window. And here we have a Zoom session. And I'll go to November 1st, December 6th, January, February, March, April, May, June, and July. There's no session. So it'll end in June. And let's say I want to create another event at Senior Center. Meet with George for some activity. And let's say I'm going to meet George at 11 o'clock that day. No repeat. And travel time, I'll give it 30 minutes. And I want the system to remind me 1 hour before the travel time. So this way, at least I can get changed and get ready to go. All right. So, March 2024, wrong year. So I want to change this to November 3rd. So now it's November 3rd. Now let's go to click on today. And you'll highlight the day I'm on, plus I have a couple of sessions. All right. And I noticed that I have some conflicts. This is a 9 to 11, and I'm meeting George at 11. Okay, that works. Now you can see that the calendar is getting a little bit cluttered.
And it would be easy, it would be nice if I can find an easy way to go through the calendar and see what I have going on. You'll notice that there are check marks here. Let's say, number one, I don't want to see any of the holidays. So I can click this and turn it off. The entries are still there. It's just not showing it to us. And I want to see what are the medical appointments I have going. So I'll unclick the fun activities, unclick senior center. Now I'll be able to see I have a dentist appointment, flu shot, MD, with Dr. Smith. And if I want to see fun activities, and I can see that there is one entry on the 3rd, and on the 18th, I have a whole day activity. And I can turn on the senior center activity. There's a Zoom session. And let's see, what else do I have? Oh, meet with George. Okay, you'll notice that I have purposely put certain things in here, like MD for doctor, dentist, I use DDS. Now up here, if let's say I'm a few months out and now it's 2024 and I want to see when did I go see a dentist? I can just type in DDS and it pops up and it says, I had a session here and I can click on that. It will put me, create a new dentist. No, this will, yeah. I can click on that. It will send me to the date of that entry. If I want to see when did I go see a doctor, that's here. So what this is essentially doing is allowing me to use some kind of keyword to look for things. So I can unclick the other activities so I can see only the medical related, or I can look for a certain entry based on some keywords within each entry. So this is a good practice to always use some kind of keyword in your entry so later you can do a search of those entries. Now you'll notice that I can type in DR for all the doctors. Okay. And for my personal calendar, I have probably 8 to 10 different categories. And because my calendar gets a little bit messy, and at least this way I can look for things isolated and just look at a specific category of calendar entries. I can turn everything back on anytime I wish.
And as you say, that will work for almost anything. If you have a Google Calendar or an Apple Calendar, or maybe even an Outlook calendar.
Yeah, and it works on a phone, on a pad, or on a computer, laptop, or desktop. And generally, any calendar system has a way for you to categorize specific appointments that lets you group them together. Okay.
And that's nice. And that's nice that you can get rid of things like holidays and or birthdays that might be cluttering them up, that were automatically added in their
Yeah.
helpful way that they do.
And US holidays, you notice that there is three bars here, kind of like a speaker. And what that is saying is that is being downloaded from Apple or from some internet provider. And those are the official holidays. So if something gets changed, that will automatically be updated. Okay.
Any questions about that for John? Okay, what's your next topic?
My next topic is Finder, which is, for those of you that is familiar with Windows, that is, oh shoot, it's been so long since I've used,
File Manager.
yeah, File Manager. Okay. Are you able to see good? All right. I hope you can see, hear the sound. File Manager, by the way, or Windows, for Windows, or Finder on the Mac. It is a way, or by the way, there is also, it's called Files on a phone or Files on an iPad. It is a way for you to look at all the files you have created and saved onto your onto your system. And sometimes a lot of people will have hundreds of files and they are just in a big jumble. And here are some ways for you to make it easier for you to search for things.
Now, we will look at how we can organize our files. We'll open the Finder and let's go to my documents. You'll find that in my documents, there are different types of files, and I don't like the way everything is arranged because I prefer to see everything in a list. So I'm going to click on this, which is show items as icon, list, column, or gallery. And I'm going to choose columns. And the sequence of all the files, they're laid out in alphanumeric sequence. You see, I have some bank statements. Let me widen this column a little bit. Okay. I have bank statements, I have car insurance, I have utility bills, and I have some pictures of Pia over here on Bainbridge. And there's another view of Pia. And I have a grocery list. I have some test samples. Okay. It is extremely hard for you to find anything if you have to read through all of this. Now, to make it easier, you can categorize each of the files beforehand, but you have to prepare the files before you have to look for it. Now, you'll notice that we have tags, and each tag has a color code. And you can use any color for anything you want. Let's say I'll click blue. I'm going to use blue for, fun things. So I'm going to two-finger click, rename. Okay. And let's say I'm going to use green to identify banks, insurance, utilities. And let's use orange for, oh, let's say, rename orange to miscellaneous docs. Okay. And by the way, if I don't like the sequence, I can single click. I like this. Move it. Fun things. I'm going to move it. So they're now in the sequence that I like. All right. Let's go to see documents. I'll see it in column. So I'm going to bank. Here's bank, car insurance, utility. By the way, I'm selecting these files by holding the command key down and pick and choose whichever I want. And now over here on the right, you'll find tags. And let me add tags. So I'm going to click on it. Here we go. And I'll choose it and save it by hitting the return key. Now you see that these files now have a green dot behind them. And these two are fun things. So I'm going to add tags, fun things, enter. Now they're blue. And then miscellaneous documents. I just called all of these. And again, I'm holding the command key down, selecting the files. Okay. Add a tag and miscellaneous. Okay. Now each one of my files contain some kind of color code. So if I want to look at banks and insurance, or look at all the miscellaneous files or the fun things. Now, if I decided that I want to look at all of my categories, I can go back to documents and I'll click on documents and I'll see everything. Now, you may ask, what happens if I have one file that really belongs in two categories? And maybe this file is also related to banks. So I can add another tag and now you see that here we have a green dot followed by a yellow dot. Green dot is banks. Here, let me move this over. Banks, and a yellow dot, orange dot, is miscellaneous. So now if you only want to look at banks, you will see these files. If you want to look at miscellaneous, you'll see these. So that is a way to minimize all the files into just the category you are looking for.
That looks pretty handy.
Another trick here on view, you can sort all of your files by name, or let's say the date it was added, or the date it was modified. Let's call it date modified. So now a sequence gets changed based on when that file was actually changed. I can change the sort by size. So now all of my files are categorized by how big they are. Notice that this one is 7.5 megabytes, and this one is only 96,000 bytes. So if you'd like to go back to sort it by name, now it's A comes first and Z is at the end.
Okay. What questions do you have? Anyone? The a number of people have just hundreds of files in their documents, and the documents are not named in a way that makes it easy to find things. For myself, I also like to put in the date. So let's say there's a bank statement that was that has a date of October 15th, and I'll put that in as part of the name. So at least when I'm looking at the name, I can get an idea of where or when something was created. And then I use color coding. Now, another thing you can use the color coding for is, let's say you have, let's say you're going on a flight and you have a boarding pass, and you can actually have that boarding pass, give it a color, meaning assign it a tag, whatever tag you want to use. Maybe have a tag called important stuff. And so before you fly, you add that one tag to that boarding pass. So when you do get to the gate, you can just tap on that and it will show you your boarding pass without having to hunt for that boarding pass somewhere on your phone. Okay. Now, I have...
I'll just pop in here to say that if you're using Windows File Manager, the term is still tags, but it's under properties. So that's where you would go looking to try to do this in Windows.
Okay.
You said, please.
Say that again.
It's Darlene Reed. Would you repeat what you just said?
Yeah, I said that if you're using Windows, the term is properties, and it shows up in the file as that's where you would try to manage the tags.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I have one more, and let's see if I can get it to work. It's for photos. Okay, can everybody see the my sharing window?
Yep.
Okay,
We will now look at how we can find photos in our photo library. Here, I'll click on Photos to open it up. Here are my photos, and I can look at Places. If I click Places, before we get there, you will see this little slider bar. You can move it to the left and you can see more photos on your screen, or you can blow it up so each photo is a larger thumbnail. You can look at in years, 22, 23, or 2019, or by month, or by day, or the entire album. Now, let's say I have this picture of a boat. I can click on the eye in a circle that says it was taken in Astoria, and I used this phone to take it. And this is the actual size of the file. So here's some info. And by the way, I took that picture in September 2019 at almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I can click on Places. Places will give us a map. And you'll see that I took 9 pictures around Seattle, Bainbridge. I took 3 pictures here, 2 pictures down here. Now I can move my cursor and I will use my 2 fingers and zoom in this area. And here are the pictures. Somehow my zoom isn't working.
by the way, the reason it wasn't working was because my fingers were too dry. And I
Let's start
needed to
again
lick it
here.
a little bit.
This is here. And I can see that 2 pictures down here, 3, and 9. And in reality, I took 5 here, 1, and 3. These pictures, I can zoom in even more. So I took 2 on Bainbridge, 2 somewhere in Kitsap, 1 photo in Seattle. I can look at these 2 pictures. I can look at them a little bit bigger. And here are 2 pictures of Pia. And here's 1 picture. Let's take a look at the info. I took it at this location on the east side of Seattle. I took it on December 2019. Okay. Recent will show you the sequence of the photos that you actually imported into your photo library. And so I put these photos into the library. I did this one first and that one at the end. duplicates. Now, quite often I would snap a whole bunch of pictures hoping I would get a good one. And now I can use this. If I click on duplicate, it will find all the photos that are very, very similar, and you can choose which one you want to keep, which one you want to delete. And that is my library. Now, I can create an album. Let's call it one. Let's give it a name. Fun places. So let's take this, this, and this. Those photos, I can press and hold down the command key and select any photos that I want. And I'll just drag it to Fun Places. Now you see that you can click on Fun Places and you will see all the pictures that you have categorized as that. Let's go back to the library. You'll notice that the photos are still in your library. You have just flagged certain pictures to appear in Fun Places. Now, let's create another album. I hit the plus sign, album. Let's call it food. Go to the library, click this, and drag it to food. Now, again, I held down the command key and then I dragged it. And this is, let's see, if you have chosen to certain pictures, but you forgot a few. So I can click on this. Again, I'm holding down the command key and this, and I can add it to Fun Places. So now I have 10 pictures in places. Let's see. If you decide to delete a photo, let's say the Pia photo, you accidentally deleted it. So let's say I highlight these two and I say, wrong place. Highlight these two photos, 2-finger click, delete these 2 albums, and you answer this pop-up. It says, yes, I do want to delete them. So now they're gone. Let's say you did that by accident and you want them back. Down here, there is recently deleted. You click on it and you see that you have these photos. And I want to restore these 2. So I held down the command key and selected both of these photos and I say recover. So now I go back to the library, you'll find that these 2 photos are back again.
So I'll jump in here with the Windows app, and if you don't mind, I'll just stop your sharing and share, see if I can share my screen.
Okay, great.
And if you're trying to use Windows to organize your photos, it looks like the best program that they have that comes with the system is Photos. And you can see here that this is a picture from the labyrinth that I took out on Halls Hill. and it does the same thing that the Safari and Apple did. Gives you the location that it was taken. Now, if you didn't take the picture and you changed it in some way, some of this data may not be available. But the app that you're looking for in Windows is called Photos. And the little button that I pressed to get the information was that little button at the top with the I, the info button.
Have
So-
a question on anything?
May I jump in? This is Darlene again. So John, my question is, I think I have an old keyboard. What is the control button? Is it control, not command?
Is it a Windows keyboard or
yes.
Apple?
The Windows.
Okay. Command key is something on the Mac.
That's what I thought.
And control on the PC, there is Shift, Alt, and what's another key?
And I'm not sure. So it's a three key.
Control, yeah, Control, Alt, and Shift. Those are the three. Is there another one? Reed?
Yes, there's also a Windows key, which is 3 squares. And they have some things that pop up when you use the Windows key and a button.
Okay,
So you can look for special keys online.
thank you.
I know that on Windows, if you use the Windows key and the dot, the period, you get emojis,
Okay,
which sort of means that we're ending about where we started with silliness available.
okay.
Yep.
Well, that's helpful since I'm a Windows PC user. But John, thank you. This was helpful just to see you step through this and what you've done. Now I'll practice learning how I
Okay.
can do it on a Windows.
Okay.
Thank you.